Welcome to the deep dive. If you've ever felt frustrated by those motivational cliches, like being told, just visualize harder or, think more positively, but you still feel stuck, well, this deep dive is definitely for you. We're going to really unpack this whole idea of manifestation, treat it like a practical, executable method. Our mission today, to dig up that precise blueprint for getting your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions all lined up in a repeatable way.
And we're basing this analysis, this deep dive, on Prabadevi Venkatesan's work, specifically her guide, The Manifestation Method, a no-fluff guide to creating the life you actually want. And what's really interesting, I think, is her background. She's got this unique mix, engineering graduate, visual artist, a dancer, writer, really multifaceted, independent thinker.
Yeah, that background feels like the secret sauce, doesn't it? This isn't some abstract philosophy thing. It's a system designed by someone who gets logic, who gets execution, but also understands that creative envisioning piece. She apparently hit that point a lot of us do, surrounded by self-help books, but still feeling that gap between what you want and what you have. And that led her to ask this really core question. What if manifestation isn't some kind of magic trick? What if it's just a learnable method, something that depends on how your brain, your energy, and your everyday choices actually work together?
It's a total reframe, really. It suggests that, look, whether you're trying to manifest or not, you are creating outcomes all the time.
Yeah.
Based on your internal alignment. So manifestation, in this view, is just taking that process and directing it with extreme precision. And Venkatesan gives us this 5-point roadmap, 5 core ideas that keep the whole system logical, actionable, robust.
Okay, let's lay that roadmap out right away. First, mindset is the master key. Your beliefs, especially those hidden ones you don't even know you have, they basically sculpt the limits of what you think is possible for you.
Right. And second, clarity precedes manifestation. Fuzzy wishes just get you fuzzy results. You need really specific, detailed intentions. That creates the blueprint for your brain. Third, emotion fuels the process. Feelings aren't just side effects. They're the electric current, the power. They determine how far your intention actually broadcasts.
Got it. And fourth, aligned action turns dreams into data points. This is crucial, right? Where the rubber meets the road. Consistent, tangible steps. They literally shorten the distance between the idea and the reality.
Exactly. And finally, the 5th pillar, resilience keeps the engine running. Setbacks, they're expected in this model. Totally normal. They aren't signs you failed or the universe hates you. They're just feedback. Data, you have to learn to read that data and adjust, without just giving up. So essentially, we're looking at the mind as the interface, emotion as the power, and behavior as the code that makes it happen.
Okay, before we get into the how-tos, we really need to clear away some of the myths, the stuff that trips people up. Let's do some myth busting. Appeal to that logical side.
Good idea. Myth 1, manifestation is passive. You just, think positive thoughts and wait by the mailbox, the reality. Especially coming from her engineering background, it's intensely participatory. Thought is maybe the design phase, it sparks the idea, but behavior, that's the construction phase. You have to physically move towards it.
Right, okay. And myth 2, this one's frustrating. Manifestation guarantees instant results. That expectation just sets you up for disappointment, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The reality is timing varies a lot. It depends on how deep those old mental patterns run. What looks like a delay is often just necessary repatterning. Your mind needs to catch up, or maybe your environment needs to shift slightly for the result to actually stick.
That makes sense. Okay, myth 3. This one feels kind of harsh. If you didn't manifest it, you just didn't want it badly enough.
Yeah, that's just unhelpful. And often untrue. It puts all the weight on desire, which is only one piece of the puzzle. Hidden beliefs, those subconscious blocks, emotional conditioning, even your environment. They all play a role. We need to get past blaming ourselves for outcomes that are, frankly, more complex than just willpower.
So if it's not magic, but it is this methodical process, how does Venkatesan define it cleanly?
She suggests manifestation is basically the natural way humans interact with reality. It's inherent. It's the skill, maybe a sophisticated one, of turning a very clear inner picture, that blueprint, again, into a concrete outer result. And how do you do that? By consciously becoming the kind of person to whom that desired outcome would naturally, logically arrive.
Okay, becoming the person
that
leads straight into alignment, right?
Exactly. And her rowboat analogy is perfect here. Imagine you're trying to row across a lake. If your mind pulls one oar towards, say, success, but your hidden fears or doubts pull the other oar towards failure, what happens?
You just spin in circles, go nowhere, burn a lot of energy.
Precisely. You spin. So alignment means getting everything synchronized. Your beliefs, your emotions, your decisions, the words you speak, your actual actions, they all have to point in the same direction. Pulling those oars together, coherently moving the boat forward.
And that alignment, that structure for moving forward, it rests on her real pillars of manifestation, which she says are totally non-negotiable. Take one away, and the whole thing just collapses.
Right, collapses or you just spin. Pillar 1 is clarity. This is step 1 always. Knowing exactly what you genuinely want, not what you think you should want or what others expect, what truly resonates with you. You need that specific destination pin for the GPS. Fuzzy wishes. Well, they're just too vague for your brain, let alone the universe, to plot a course.
Makes sense. Pillar 2.
Belief. This is your inner compass. You have to hold the conviction deep down that your desire is actually possible. And this is key, that you are worthy of having it. If you don't feel worthy, even if you believe it's possible for someone, you'll likely sabotage yourself. You'll pull that fear oar.
Oof, yeah. Okay. And pillar 3.
Action. The execution phase. Taking consistent, tangible steps. Steps that actually reflect the clarity of your goal and the certainty of your belief. It has to involve physical movement in the world.
Let's pause on that Jordan pitfall example you mentioned, because that really highlights skipping the action part.
Yeah, Jordan. He read some stuff, maybe got a bit confused between detachment and just passivity. He thought trusting the universe meant he should just quit his decent marketing job and kind of wait for a better income to magically appear.
Oh dear. How did that work out?
Predictably, not well. He burned through his savings pretty fast, ended up having to move back home.
So he had clarity, probably. Knew what he wanted.
Yeah, likely had clarity on the income goal, maybe even believed it was possible given his marketing background.
And he cut off the action.
Completely severed it. Manifestation is co-creative. If you want income, you generally need a vehicle for it, a job, a business, a service you offer. You can't just sit and visualize without doing anything that bridges the gap to reality. Her engineering mindset demands that executable plan.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Moving beyond just self-help ideas into measurable science. We're shifting from the what to the how it actually works in our brains and bodies, grounding it.
Exactly. That's the no-fluff promise. The brain isn't just passively receiving reality, it's actively predicting it. It's a prediction machine. And every thought, every emotion you repeat, especially the subconscious ones, it physically carves neural pathways. That's neuroplasticity. Those pathways become your brain's default highways of expectation.
And those highways determine what we even notice, right? Which brings us to the reticular activating system, the RAS. We should probably slow down here because this RAS thing sounds critical, almost like the gatekeeper.
It is the gatekeeper. Think of it as the bouncer at the club door of your perception. And this bouncer has strict instructions. Only let in information that confirms the brain's existing internal script. So if your dominant belief, repeated over and over, is, "I'm bad with money," the RAS works diligently to filter out anything that contradicts that. It makes sure you don't notice the profitable side hustle idea or the chance to negotiate a raise or even that article on basic budgeting.
Wow. So it's not just missing opportunities, it's actively filtering them out to keep the old story going.
Yes, and it actively seeks confirmation of the negative script. If you believe good things don't happen to me, your RAS will highlight every little setback and conveniently delete evidence to the contrary. It wants to keep your external world perfectly mirroring your internal map, even if that map leads you off a cliff. The brain prioritizes consistency over happiness sometimes.
Okay, so that's the perception filter. Now layer in the energy and emotion part.
Right. So thoughts. Think of them as electrical impulses. They give the signal direction. But emotions generated largely by our limbic system, our hormones, they create magnetic fields. They provide the power, the wattage.
So the thought and the feeling together create this electromagnetic signature, our personal broadcast.
Exactly, your bioenergetic symphony. And here's the catch. If you visualize success, that's the electric thought, but you feel anxious or doubtful or unworthy, that's the magnetic emotion. The signal you send out is weak. It's fuzzy. It's incoherent, like a badly tuned radio station.
You need the laser, not the flashlight, you said.
Precisely. Coherence is key. You get that when the thought and the feeling harmonize. So visualizing success while genuinely feeling excitement or gratitude or confidence, that creates a strong, clear, focused wave.
And the heart plays a big role here too, right? I've heard about the heart math research.
A huge role. HeartMath Institute found the heart's magnetic field is vastly stronger than the brain's electrical field, like potentially up to 100,000 times stronger magnetically. When your heart achieves coherence, that steady, rhythmic pattern you can get through breathing and positive focus, it massively amplifies your body's entire energetic broadcast. You literally become a more powerful magnet for experiences that match that high-frequency state.
Okay, so that's the internal coherence. How does this connect to the external world? You mentioned quantum cruise.
Yeah, she touches on things like quantum entanglement, spooky action at a distance, more as a conceptual model, I think. Not necessarily saying we're quantumly manipulating atoms directly, but using it to illustrate potential interconnectedness. The idea being that your focus intention sets a direction, and perhaps subtle entangled networks begin to reorganize in response.
Right, important distinction for the logical folks. It's a model, maybe a metaphor for interconnectedness, not necessarily a literal mechanism we fully grasp yet. But what is more measurable is the social field effect through mirror neurons.
Exactly. Mirror neurons are fascinating. They fire both when you do something and when you watch someone else do it. So when you intentionally embody a state, say, calm confidence, genuine joy, your mirror neurons are basically sending out a silent invitation to people around you. They're inviting others to unconsciously mirror that state back to you. You become socially magnetic for that energy.
Like that presentation example, walking into a room with a demoralized team.
Right. Instead of matching their low energy, you deliberately access and embody feelings of past success, gratitude, confidence. That state gets transmitted non-verbally. It can shift the whole room's energy, making the team more receptive, more engaged. That's a practical way your internal energy alignment influences your immediate reality and interactions. You draw aligned conversations, collaborators.
Okay, so if the RAS is filtering based on instructions, what are those core instructions? That brings us to beliefs, the invisible architect.
Exactly. Beliefs are just conclusions we accepted as fact, often way back, maybe in childhood. Repeated so often they sink below conscious thought. They're sneaky because they direct the RAS. They filter what we even allow ourselves to see or believe is possible. They tell you who you are, what you deserve.
And that leads right back to the self-fulfilling prophecy thing.
Yeah.
Because if you expect something, your brain primes you for it.
Absolutely. Neuroscience shows this clearly. Expect pain, and the pain centers light up before the stimulus even arrives. Expect an interview to be awful.
And you walk in tense, defensive, maybe a bit awkward, and boom, awful interview. You proved yourself right.
Precisely. So how do we even spot these beliefs if they're running in the background like hidden apps? They show up in patterns, persistent, often painful patterns. The same kind of relationship disaster repeating, the job that always goes sour in the same way, never seeming to get ahead financially no matter how hard you try.
So the question to ask is, what would someone have to believe for this pattern to keep happening?
That's the key diagnostic question. If relationships always crash and burn, maybe the belief is it's not safe to be vulnerable, or people always leave, or something like that.
Okay, so you identify the pattern, ask the question, maybe uncover the belief. Then what? The rewriting process.
Yes, a three-step process. First, awareness. You have to catch the old belief in action, mid-thought, or as you recognize the pattern playing out again. Second, interruption. This needs to be immediate. Stop the thought train. You can literally say cancel or stop or new script silently or even out loud. Break the neural circuit.
Okay, catch it, stop it, then replacement. This is where those bridge statements come in.
Exactly. This is crucial. You need to replace the old belief with something new, but it has to be believable to you. If the old thought is, I'm terrible with money, you don't jump straight to, I'm a millionaire. That creates conflict. Instead, use a present progressive bridge statement. I'm learning to master money. Or, I am becoming more financially aware each day.
Ah, so it bridges the belief gap, the gap between where you are and the ultimate goal. Jumping too far feels like a lie.
Feels like a lie, creates cognitive dissonance, and actually sends out a weaker mixed signal. Remember the fuzzy flashlight versus the laser. You need coherence. The bridge statement has to feel plausible, achievable. I am open to finding a healthy relationship. I am developing the skills for my next career move. It keeps you honest, but still directs your brain and energy towards the desired future. It's methodical, incremental.
Right, okay, now for the toolkit.
Yeah.
The actual practices. Visualization, affirmations, rituals. How do we use these effectively?
We have to keep coming back to clarity first. It's the bedrock for all these tools. You need that visceral, detailed knowing. Remember the GPS analogy? Somewhere nice doesn't work. You need the specific street address. Your vision has to be detailed enough for your brain to treat it as real data.
And you mentioned the mirror test for checking if a desire is actually yours or just something you think you should want.
Yeah, it's a simple but powerful physiological check. Stand in front of a mirror, state the desire out loud, notice your body. Does it feel light, expansive, exciting? That's authentic. Or do you feel a tightness, a contraction, maybe even dread? That might be a should. Stick with the authentic ones.
Okay, desire clarified and verified. Now, visualization, that works. This is more than just daydreaming.
Much more. It's inner rehearsal. The key is sensory detailing. Engage all 5 senses. Create memories of the future. So for that cafe owner example, don't just see the sign.
Right, you need the smell of the coffee, the sound of the espresso machine, the feel of the wooden tables, the taste of the pastries, the warmth of the sun.
Exactly. That richness makes the brain record it as a real experience. We know the brain doesn't clearly distinguish between vivid imagination and physical reality, like those pianists mentally practicing scales.
And improving almost as much as physical practice. Wow.
And don't forget embodiment. While visualizing, adopt the posture and breathing of the person who has that reality. Sit tall for confidence, relax your jaw, breathe deeply.
Okay, visualization sets the scene. Then come affirmations with impact. These need to be more than just positive self-talk.
Yes. 3 criteria. Authentic, meaning it resonates with you. Emotionally resonant, you have to feel it. And present tense embodied. And we use that identity reframe technique to make them stick.
Instead of, I am fit, which might feel untrue.
Use, I'm the kind of person who enjoys moving my body and making healthy food choices. Focus on the identity that leads to the outcome. It bypasses the brain's lie detector more easily.
Can you give some specific examples from the source for common goals?
Sure. For money, instead of just, I want more money, try, wealth flows into my life easily and consistently and I manage it wisely, or I am worthy of financial abundance. For a job, maybe my unique talents and skills are valuable and in high demand, or I attract fulfilling work opportunities easily.
And for love?
Something like, I am open and ready for a deep, lasting, healthy love, or I attract partners who are kind, communicative, and aligned with my values. And remember, the words, affirmation, electric thought, become way more powerful when paired with the visualization, the picture, and the magnetic feeling. Synchronize them.
Okay, daily practice. What about more advanced techniques or rituals? You mentioned scripting.
Right. Scripting is basically writing out your desired reality in detail, in the past tense as if it's already happened. Include feelings, dialogues, sensory details, maybe even specific dates. It's like writing the scene from the movie of your achieved goal, forces the brain to pre-live it.
And the numerical rituals, the 369 and 55 by 5 methods, are the numbers magical?
Not inherently magical, no. They provide structure and enforce consistency. That's their power. The 3-meter-69 method. Write your desire 3 times morning, 6 times afternoon, 9 times evening. The repetition locks it in. The 55 by 5 method. Write a core affirmation 55 times for 5 days straight. It's about embedding the intention through focused, repetitive physical action. Takes it out of just mental hoping and into disciplined practice.
Interesting. Okay, and there were some specialized frequency techniques too. Water manifestation.
Yeah, this one bridges the physical and intentional. Take a glass of water, hold it, consciously infuse it with your intention for about 60 seconds, really feel it, and then drink it.
What's the thinking there?
Well, our bodies are mostly water. If Dr. Emoto's research on intention affecting water molecules has merit, you're essentially programming the water you're about to ingest, changing your own body's chemistry, hopefully, to align with the intention. It's a very direct physical act of embodying the goal.
Fascinating. And the 8.8 Lions Gate portal, that sounds more astrological.
It ties into astrology and numerology, yes. It happens around August 8th each year when Earth, the Sun, and the star Sirius align. Sirius is sometimes called the spiritual sun, so the idea is this alignment creates a potent energy window for manifestation.
And number 8 relates
abundance, infinity, power, and numerology. Plus, it falls during Leo season, the Lion's Gate, bringing that energy of courage, strength, confidence. So it's a time to harness that amplified energy for setting powerful intentions.
Is there a specific practice for that?
Yes, the manifestation box ritual. Around August 8th, you write 8 key manifestations on 8 pieces of paper. Put them in a special box. Commit to visualizing them daily for the whole year. Then, next August 8th, you open the box and review. It creates a powerful annual cycle of intention, focus, review, and renewal. It adds structure and accountability.
Okay, blueprint, tools, rituals.
Yeah.
Sounds great. But then life happens, right? We hit roadblocks. Doubt creeps in, fear, maybe even self-sabotage. What then?
First, and this is crucial, reframe it. Resistance is a growth signal. It's not a stop sign. Doubt, fear, procrastination. They are totally predictable when you push your boundaries. It's your ego, your old programming, trying to pull you back to what feels safe and familiar. Seeing it pop up actually means your intention is active. You're challenging the status quo.
So don't freak out when it happens. Okay, how do we deal with it?
You need to trace the roots. Resistance often comes from old, unhealed stuff. Limiting beliefs formed long ago. Venkatesan talks about her own procrastination on writing, tracing it back to a critical teacher. That old wound was resisting her new identity. The fix isn't brute force, it's compassionate inquiry. Ask yourself, why does this part of me feel scared? What is it trying to protect me from?
And what about actual setbacks, things not working out as planned?
Reframe those too. They aren't cosmic judgments. They are feedback loops, GPS recalibrations.
Oh.
Use constructive attribution, like an engineer debugging a system. Analyze it. What factors were within my control? What wasn't? Was my strategy flawed? Do I need a new skill? Was the timing off due to external factors?
Like Devin the artist, who got rejected but used it as data.
Exactly. He didn't take the rejection as, I'm a bad artist. He asked for feedback, learned his presentation needed work, fixed it, and got in next time. The setback was just data pointing to a needed adjustment in strategy.
Okay, that makes sense. What about managing the anxiety around when things will happen, the invisible timeline?
Ah, yes. We have to resist setting rigid, arbitrary deadlines based on impatience or ego. Manifestation often involves phase lag. There's a natural gap between setting the energetic intention, getting clear, believing it, and seeing the physical proof. Trying to force it faster than reality allows often leads to panic, doubt, and giving up right before the breakthrough.
Like the author's book deal example, she wanted it in 2 weeks.
Visualized it intensely for 2 weeks. The offers came, but at week 6. Why? Editor schedules, legal reviews, real-world logistics. It wasn't a lack of belief, it was just the natural unfolding of events in the physical world. So, trust-inspired timelines, the ones that feel intuitively right, but detached from rigid, ego-driven ones, patience and persistence are key.
All right. We've got the plan, the tools, how to handle bumps. Now, how do we weave this into everyday life? Make it a lifestyle, not just a technique we do sometimes. Manifestation by design.
Exactly. This is integration. Breaking down the wall between practice time and real life. It's about consciously designing your entire ecosystem, thoughts, feelings, actions, environment, so everything consistently amplifies your core intentions. It boils down to intentional living, consistently managing your energy and maintaining your focus.
Okay, energy audit. What does that involve?
Looking honestly at what fuels you and what drains you, sleep quality, nutrition, the people you spend time with, the media you consume, and critically, your internal dialogue. Are you constantly complaining or worrying? That drains your energy, lowers your frequency. When your energy is high, optimistic, grateful, calm, care-be, you naturally attract situations and people that resonate with that. Protect your energy.
And focus. That's like the steering wheel, the spotlight effect.
Precisely. Remember the RAS. It follows your dominant focus. Where attention goes, energy flows, and the RAS filters reality accordingly. Think of Alicia the designer, focusing on the saturated market. Her RAS showed her only proof of saturation.
But when she shifted focus to my unique style attracts ideal clients,
her RAS started highlighting niche opportunities, articles about unmet needs, potential collaborators who valued her unique approach. You literally start seeing the world differently based on your focus.
And our words play a big role here too. The power of language.
Huge! Language is like the operating system for the brain. It encodes possibility. We have to shift from passive language, I hope I get, or limiting language, I'm terrible at, to leading language. I am mastering, I am developing, I am attracting. This primes your brain to look for evidence that supports that positive direction.
How do we build this into the daily grind, daily practices?
Keep it simple and consistent. Morning momentum. Use those first few minutes upon waking. That hypnopompic state is potent to set your frequency. Visualize, affirm, before the day's chaos grabs you. Use habit stacking. Link a micro-intention practice to something you already do.
Like visualizing while the coffee brews, or affirming while brushing teeth.
Exactly. Sneak it in, make it automatic, doesn't require extra time, just awareness.
And the environment.
Yeah.
An environment is scaffolding.
Your physical surroundings should support your goals. If you want to write a book, maybe the TV doesn't belong in your main living space. Create a dedicated writing nook. Manifesting love or community. Make your home feel genuinely welcoming, open, a place you'd want to share. Your space should reflect and reinforce your intentions. And finally, for really deep, sustained momentum, Connect it all to the legacy North Star. What's the bigger purpose? How does achieving your goal contribute something beyond just yourself? To family, community, the world? Manifestation seems to work best, most powerfully, when it's a win-win. When your success ripples outward, that larger sense of purpose provides fuel that outlasts temporary moods or setbacks. It's bigger than just you.
Wow. Okay, this has been a really comprehensive deep dive into Prabadevi Venkatesan's method, taking manifestation from, vague wishing to a practical, repeatable process, rooted in how our brains work, our energy, and crucially, our actions.
Yeah, I think the core message is you're always manifesting, whether you realize it or not. Your current reality reflects your past dominant thoughts, feelings, and actions. The goal is to make that process conscious, deliberate, coherent. It's less about doing manifestation techniques occasionally and more about evolving into being the kind of person whose thoughts, feelings, and actions are naturally aligned with their desired reality.
So, for everyone listening right now, what's the immediate takeaway? It seems the biggest success isn't just checking goals off a list, but actually integrating this adaptive way of relating to reality, where challenges become data and action is the real proof of belief.
Exactly. And if every aligned action you take, every coherent signal you broadcast ripples out, influencing the collective field, maybe even just through those mirror neurons, what imprint do you want to make? What frequency, courage, compassion, possibility will you choose to consciously broadcast starting today? That choice right there is your starting point.
Choose the frequency, align your actions, trust the process. It sounds like your consistent signal backed by real-world action is already drawing your desired reality closer. We'll leave you with that thought. See you in the next deep dive.
To get more details about the manifestation method, a no-fluff guide to creating the life you actually want, click the below link to get the book. Subscribe us to get more content like this.